Well, hello. We have a lot of work ahead of us today. So get your notes ready, get your pencils, and let's get started. Today we're going to be solving multi-step equations and inequalities. So what you've learned from solving equations before, you're going to actually add to that. We're going to throw the distributive property into it. Okay, so as you can see right here, this is an equation, and the reason why it's an equation is because it has an equal sign versus an inequality that has a greater than, less than, or greater than, less, equal to sign. Okay, so this is an equation because of the equal sign. So we're going to do what you've known to do, except we are going to have to distribute the 3. Okay, so I'm going to divide my equation into 2 sides, and I'm going to use the distributive property. The distributive property is what I have to do first in this equation. So when I multiply a positive 3 times a positive d, I get 3d. Then I'm going to multiply a positive 3 times a positive 2, and I get 6. The biggest mistake I see with the distributive property is this second term. People forget to multiply the 3 by the second term. Okay, so you always have to remember to distribute to everything. That's what distribute means, give it to everything. The 12 just comes down. Now, here I am. I'm solving an equation. I have a positive 3d, a positive 6, and a positive 12. So what do I need to do? I need to get d alone. That's always my goal. Goal is always to get my variable alone. So before I deal with the d, if I have any addition or subtraction near it, I have to take care of that first. What is the opposite of adding 6? It's subtracting 6. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. You are writing this example on your notes. I cross that out and I bring the positive 3d down, and I have now a positive 12 and a negative 6. Notice the signs are different. Well, you know 12 minus 6 is 6, but let's talk about the signs are different. I'm going to subtract the numbers and keep the sign of the bigger number. 12 is bigger, so it's going to be positive. Okay, so now what's happening to d? It's getting multiplied by 3. So I need to do the opposite and divide by 3. That will give my d get my d to be alone. My answer is d equals 2. You can always go back and check it. If I plug a 2 in here, 2 plus 2 is 4, times 3 is 12. That is the right answer. Okay, so now we're going to use the distributive property, and we're going to solve the inequality, and we're going to graph it. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 3, that sign is very important. This is a positive 4. A positive times a negative is a negative. 4 times 3 is 12. So this becomes 4x minus 12. I've used the distributive property, is greater than 6. What's happening to my x? I need to get rid of addition and subtraction first. I'm going to do the opposite of my negative 12, which is positive 12. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. This is positive, this is positive. That cancels. I'll bring down my positive 4x, my greater than, and then 12 plus 6 is 18. I'm going to divide by 4 on both sides, and now I don't have, now I have a fraction. 4 goes into 18 4 times. There's 2 left over, 4 and 2/4. So x is actually greater than 4 and 1/2. That means all my answers have to be greater than 4 and 1/2. How would we graph that? Here's my number line. Here's 0. Here's 4. Here's 5. In between 4 and 5 is 4 and 1/2. I'm going to put an open circle, and all my answers, all my x's are bigger than that, so I have to color that way. Let's go over here. I would like you to try this. 3 equals 4, parentheses x plus 2. Turn off your video and try that. Okay, let's do it. Let's see if you got it right. What'd you get for an answer? Let's see if you got the answer that I get. Okay, so I'm going to draw my line down here. I've distributed my 4. Everything's positive. I don't have to worry about any negatives. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 2 is 8. How do I get rid of what's happening to the x? Well, it's being added by 8. I don't want to do the 4 first because that's connected to the x. I have to save that to the end. Right now I'm going to do the opposite of positive 8, so that's a negative 8. I have a positive 3 on this side, a negative 8 on this side, and I'm subtracting a negative 8. That will cancel, and I'll bring down my 4x. And now I have an 8 and a 3. I'm going to subtract the numbers, and I get 5. And it's negative because 8 is bigger than 3, so I take the sign of the bigger number. Now I'm going to go ahead and divide each side by 4. So x equals negative 5 over 4. And you would have to put that into a mixed number. It equals negative 1 and 1/4. All I did was divide 4 into 5. I get 1, and there's 1 left over. That is my answer. Okay, so now I'm going to do this one. 4 times b minus 3 is less than or equal to 72. Go ahead and turn off your video and try that. Okay, so let's see how you did. 4b minus 12, I'm distributing the 4, is less than or equal to 72. Okay, so how do I get the 4b by itself? I have to worry about addition and subtraction first. I know this is positive, that's negative. I have to do the opposite. Doing the opposite, that cancels out. I get 4b less than or equal to 84, which is nice because 4 can go into 84. I'm going to divide by a positive 4. A positive divided by a positive is a positive. I get b is less than or equal to 21. That's my answer. Now let's graph it. Okay, so if b is less than or equal to 21, do I do an open or a closed sign? You should do it, circle. Well, because of the equal sign under here, I'm going to do a closed circle. And if b is less than or equal to 21, it's going to be that way because all the answers should be less than, and these are all the numbers that are less than. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, this is example 3. You're going to distribute on both sides. Okay, we're getting a little harder. 4 times x is 4x. Why are all these 4s? I don't know. Plus 4 times 5 is 20 equals, now I have to distribute the 3. 3 times 2x is 6x plus 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, so I have x's on both sides and I have numbers on both sides. And we've talked about when you have that, you have to get the x's to come together and you have to get the numbers to come together. So how are we going to do that? Well, I can either bring the 4 over here or I can bring the 6 over there. If I bring the 6 over there, I'll be dealing with a negative 6, and that's going to give me a negative x. If I bring the 4 over there, it'll be positive, so I like positive. So I'm going to bring the 4 over here, okay? So I'm just trying to get my x's. These are like terms. X's in numbers, these are like terms, these are like terms. 6 minus 4 is 2x. It's not just 2, it's 2x. Bring down the 12. And then I have a 20 left over here. Now what do? I have to bring the 12 over there. Well, how am I going to get the 12 over there? I know this is a positive 20. This is a positive 12. Let's subtract 12 on both sides because that will make this disappear. So now I have 8 equals 2x. 2 is being multiplied by x, so let's do the opposite, which is division. Divide by 2, and I get x equals 4. That's my answer. If I want to check it, I can go up here and go, okay, 4 plus 5 is 9, times 4 is 36. Does that equal 2 times 4 is 8, plus 4 is 12, times 3 is 36. I got the right answer. It equals. Okay, I want you to try this. 12m plus 12 equals 6 times 3m plus 3. Go. Okay, so let's see if you got the right answer. I'm just going to copy down 12m plus 12 equals, and I'm going to distribute. You should be getting used to the word distribute. The 6 times 3 is 18m plus 18. Okay, again, I have like terms on either side of my equation, and I have numbers. You have to get the like terms together. If I bring the 12 over here, I will have a positive m. If I bring the 18 over here, I'm going to have a negative m. So I'm going to bring the 12 over. If I bring the 12 over, I have to subtract 12 and m, not just 12, on both sides. 18 minus 12 is 6m plus 18 equals positive 12. Okay, now what do? Well, I have an 18 and a 12. Those are like terms. So I have to do the opposite. This is minus 18. This is minus 18. Notice I have a plus and a minus. That's a problem. Plus and a minus is a problem because when you have opposite signs, you subtract, take the sign of the bigger number. Which one's bigger? 18. So I'm going to take that negative with me. I never forget my negatives because if I do, the answer is going to be wrong. I'm going to divide by 6 because that's what 6 is being multiplied by m, so I do the opposite. And I get m equals -1. And I'm done with that one. If I went up and popped in the -1, hopefully it would come out the right answer. And you can do that by checking. Okay, I want you to try this over here. Say hi, Jared.
Hi.
Okay. Try this. Okay, what do we do first? Distribute, distribute, distribute. Okay, so distribute this, okay? So 5 times n, I'm just wondering if I copied it down wrong and I was supposed to have a less than or equal to. Let's change it to greater than or equal to because I don't know. 5 times n is 5n. My next thing is a positive times a negative. So when you have a positive 5 and a negative, you're going to multiply positive times negative, you get negative. 5 times 3 is 15. Greater than or equal to. 3 times n is 3n. Plus 3 times 7 is 21. Okay, now you have to bring the n's together and the numbers together. Okay, so let's remove the 3n from either side. This is like the left side, this is the right side, and the inequality is in the middle. I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to bring down my sign. I've got a positive 21. I've got a negative 15 here. 5n minus 3n, 2n. Notice I didn't forget my n. Okay, now what? Now I'm going to bring the 15 over there because I want my numbers over there, my letters over here. I'm going to do the opposite of what's happening to 15. It's being subtracted, so I'm going to do the opposite. I always love to cancel things out. I get 2n is greater than or equal to 36. Okay, almost done. Divide by 2 on both sides, and I get n is greater than or equal to 18. Okay, so how do I graph that? Okay, here's 0, here's 18. It's going to be a colored in circle, and because the answers are going to be bigger than 18, I need to go that way. All right, another example. We have 3 more examples and 2 more. Try this. Okay, so here's another example. 5a minus 8 is greater than or equal to 4 times a minus 3. So I'm going to copy down the 5a minus 8, greater than or equal to 4a minus 12. 4 times a negative 3 is a negative 12. Okay, what do? I have to get my a's together and I have to get my numbers together. I am going to subtract 4a from both sides because I want to get my a's together. 5 minus 4 is 1a. Minus 8 is greater than or equal to negative 12. Now what? I have to get my negative 8 over there. How do I do that? The opposite. Let's add 8 to both sides. Okay, so 1a, I don't need to write 1a. I can just write a is greater than or equal to. Okay, we've got opposite signs. We're going to subtract and take the sign of the bigger number. There's your answer. 8 is greater than or equal to 4. Negative 4, sorry. Negative 4, here's 0. I'm going to do a colored in circle because it's greater than or equal to. All my answers should be bigger than negative 4, which means I need to go that way. All right, try this. Negative 2 times k plus 1 is greater than negative 16 plus 5k. Go ahead and try that. Okay, so let's see if you got it right. Now I have to distribute the negative and the 2. So negative 2 times k is negative 2k. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. So when you're distributing the negative, make sure it goes everywhere. Is greater than or equal to negative 16 plus 5k. Okay, so 2 k's, 2 numbers. What do? Get the k's together on one side, get the numbers on the other. So I don't care what you do first. I think I'll add 2k to both sides to get my k's together. The reason why I added 2k is because it's being subtracted, so I want to add it to get rid of it. When you have a negative of something and a positive of something, it always just becomes 0. I'm going to bring down my negative 2. Greater than negative 16, I add these 2 numbers, 7k. Okay, so now I have to get rid of my negative 16. I need to see what's happening to k. It's being subtracted by 16. Let's do the opposite of that. We're going to add 16 to both sides. Thankfully that will cancel, and I have 7k, and then I have two different signs. Subtract the numbers, take the sign of the bigger number, positive. All right, so now I'm almost done. I'm going to divide by 7 on both sides. That cancels, I get k. 2 is greater than k. If you like graphing with the k on the left side of the variable, I can just rewrite that. It's actually easier to graph when you have the variable on the left. But you need the point to be going to the same thing. So if 2 is greater than k, then k is less than 2. And that's just easier to graph because I can always graph in the direction that the arrow is going. Okay, so if k is less than 2, here's 0, here's 2. Open circle because there's no line under there. And I'm going to go this way. Okay, try this one. Okay, 2p plus 5 is greater than or equal to 3 times p minus 6. I'm just going to write 2p plus 5 greater than or equal to 3p. Positive times a negative is a negative. Okay? I have p's, I have numbers. Get the p's together. Get the numbers together. So I'm going to bring this p. I like to bring the lesser p to the greater p because then I don't deal with the negative on the p department. I'm going to subtract 2p. This one's positive, so I have to do the opposite. It's negative. I'm left with 5 is greater than or equal to 3 minus 2 is 1p minus 18. What's happening to p? 18 is being subtracted from it. Let's do the opposite of subtraction. Okay, that cancels. P and 23. Okay, so like I said, I like to have my p on the other side so I can graph easier. The point is going to the p, so I'm going to make sure the point goes to the p. P is less than or equal to 23. How do I graph that? 0, 23. Do I do an open or closed circle? It's going to be closed because it's less than or equal to. If all the answers are less than or equal to p, to 23, it's going this way. Okay, we've got 2 more examples. So these 2 examples are not going to come out the way you like them to come out. So I'm going to show you what happens when that happens. All right, so the first thing, hopefully you know to distribute. 3y minus 15 plus 25 equals 3y plus 10. Okay, so here we go. 3y minus 15 plus 25. Well, that's just saying these 2 numbers are on the same side, but I can combine them because they're like terms. 25 minus 15 is actually 10. So I'm going to have 3y plus 10. It's positive 10 because this one's bigger, so I subtract the numbers and take the sign of the bigger number. So if I have 3y over here and 3y plus 10 over here, so I'm going to start subtracting my 3y, and what's going to happen is I'm going to get 10 equals 10. When you have this problem, what that means is any number you plug in for y will work. If I plug in a 20, the 20 is going to make this true. It doesn't matter what you plug in for y, it's always going to work. Okay? So, the answer to this is all real numbers. Okay? That's the sign for all real numbers. Let's just pick a random number. Let's say I plug in 12. Okay? So let's say I plug in 12. Let's see if it's true. 12 minus 5 is 7. 7 times 3 is 21. 21 and 25 is 46. 3 times 12 is 36 plus 10 is 46. So that random number that I picked is true. So I just proved to you that no matter what number I pick, if I picked another one, it would come out the same. The answer is all real numbers. When you get something that makes total sense, but you don't have the y or the variable down here, that's when it's going to be all real numbers. There's a difference between this and the next one. So let's see what happens to the next one. On the next one, I got to distribute this first. So I have negative 5s minus 14 equals 2 times 2 is 4s plus 2 times 3 is 6 minus 9s. Okay, so I'm going to just write my negative 5s minus 14 because I have to combine like terms. I have 2 s's on the same side, so I have to combine them. This is a negative, this is a positive. When you have 2 s's that you have a negative and a positive, subtract the numbers, take the sign of the bigger number. It's going to be negative. So, all right, let's see what happens here. So I have negative 5s minus 14 equals negative 5s plus 6. I want to get my s's together, but I'm going to have a problem, as you can see. When I add 5s to both sides, I get negative 14 equals positive 6. That is never true. Negative 14 is never going to equal positive 6. The answer to this one is empty set. This means null, no answers, okay? The way you would write that is empty set. Empty set. Write that down because you need to know the difference between empty set and all real numbers. When you get it down to it making total sense, but there's no solution for a y, the answer is all real numbers. When you get down to where it doesn't make sense, negative 14 will never equal 6, the answer is empty set. That's it. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.